How's today? Oh, holiday conversation.
Yes, holiday conversation. However it comes.
I hope you're well.
Well, I'm very good.
Okay, so how has it been live outside Parliament?
What do you see?
I mean, you
see
look very
me
relaxed.
In Parliament and see me now.
You look very relaxed.
That's it.
Ah.
We didn't know that in all cases, life will continue.
There's always a silver
after
lining.
One stage. So this is the next stage. And indeed, I'm enjoying the new stage.
What about it are you enjoying?
The freedom from stress. And the independence of mind and independence of opinions and independence of selections. So I myself, I do what I want to do in a day, and I am not controlled by exogenous forces, hoping that you do something otherwise. So the freedom is most enjoyable.
Was it that stressful being an MP?
You need to be there to experience it.
How many years? How many years in all?
8 years I was in the house, and 8 years I suffered the pain of stress.
I mean, because it's actually become a rhetoric that most former members of Parliament, when you speak to them, they say that I am relieved. I don't get midnight calls or early morning calls about school fees.
Calls when you're sleeping, somebody is at your door waiting for your attention, you see. But again, I'm not the advocate to, espouse this. But you are better positioned to know me and me of yesterday.
Yes.
To be able to come out with a verdict. I'm sure you're doing that.
I mean, you look very, very relaxed, and it's showing on your face and everything.
And even in your house, I remember once when my little boy in the house asked Mommy, "Where is Daddy?" He said, "Daddy's gone to Constituency." And he says, "Again?"
Oh dear. Again?
He says, "Again." And when I was told, I just laughed.
So it means that you are getting more time to spend with the family now.
Sure. And being so that my two boys, my three boys, one boy and a set of twins.
A set of twins, okay.
And they have a birthday together, all three of them. And this was 2nd of July. So tomorrow they meet their friends from school.
Okay.
And I take this opportunity to wish them a happy birthday.
Fantastic.
And that I am behind them, supporting, and will be supporting their activity tomorrow.
But how interesting that all three children share the same birthday.
I don't understand.
How did you do it?
I don't understand myself. And, when it happened that the twins came after their senior brother, and it was also on the 2nd of July, I said, wow, coincidence. But a very happy one.
I mean, it means that if you're throwing a party, you don't have to stress about separate parties.
No, all of them
one
together.
party. You can even do one cake.
Incidentally, I'm also on the 7th of July.
Of July. Oh.
So when we come to the 4th, as tomorrow,
yes,
then it's consolidation.
It's a joint celebration. Oh, that will be very, very interesting.
So it's a family day.
Yes.
Everybody in the family takes part.
Fantastic. I mean, I pray to have that too, that I have my children celebrating their birthdays on the same day. Then if you are throwing a party, you are throwing one party.
And you say you hire one chef to do the thing.
Simple.
You hire one person to do the music.
You don't have to do separate parties for three children.
And the stress is only one day.
It's just one day. All of them. Together. And this is a very, very exciting development. I'm loving it. So you're spending more time with family, getting to do a lot more of the things that you love.
Spending more time on practice.
Absolutely.
I was in the courtroom the last time, and one of the judges said, "Andy, you're back and you're doing well, and I think this is your place."
Yes.
You got missing into an arena that you would otherwise not have gone. So this is your place, this is your platform. Enjoy it. And hopefully, and really I'm enjoying the practice again.
And speaking of practice, you've been representing some of your party members. The very notable one was Chairman Wuntumi, who was at Yoko. Eventually, you were able to secure the bail or meet the bail conditions, and eventually he got to go home to be with his family. How was the journey like? It was quite a tumultuous time, if I can call it so.
Indeed, in these times when you have the time to even peruse the law and even read it with the proper interpretations, you begin to appreciate what we did in Parliament and what we're doing outside Parliament, applying what we did in Parliament.
The theory and the practice.
Theory and the practice. And for me, there is one law that I read this morning, anti-money laundering Act, Section 55 thereof. And I said, did we do this in the law? I said, yes, we did. I said, then we went contrary to the expectations of the profession and indeed common law jurisprudence of criminal practice.
Okay.
We went against it. We say that when there is suspicion that you have something, there is a presumption that it is acquired by blood money.
Okay, it's
and
ill-gotten.
Therefore, the onus is on you to defend that it is not. I said, this is inconsistent with jurisprudence of the common law that says that the man is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
I said, did we do this? And it's part of the law. You see, I read also the Yoko Act that says that the executive director and his deputy, they carry police powers. And these police powers can be delegated. I said, wow, we did this? So in my quiet times, I'm looking at what we did
and the reality and the impact of
the
it.
impact on human rights and things like that. So you see, the arrest that is ongoing. The last time I gave an interview, I told them that Yoko, they haven't done anything wrong. It is those of us who did the law who may have undermined the freedoms that people ought to enjoy. But as for them, they are only just putting the law into practice. So I think it's good also for some of us to come back together and rethink what we did and make suggestions for corrections.
I wanted to ask you if you'll be pushing for an amendment in some of these loopholes or gaps you're seeing,
we'll have
or
to do
abuses
the
you're seeing.
advocacy together, like we are doing. Somebody will hear about it and go and look at it and say, well, this didn't go well. So can we do some corrections here? And believe me, I don't have any avenue to start a process of amendment. But I can do proposals to my colleagues who are there to have a second look. And maybe as members of parliament, they can bring private members' bills and try and do some corrections here and there. But again, now make suggestions to the committees that I was part for them to have a second look at some of the laws that
have been enacted,
inconsistent with the expectations of the legal profession.
Now let's talk about the journey when your client was taken to Yoko and all that.
You want us to zero in on Chairman Woodley?
So we won't do it extensively. Just touch on it briefly.
Yes, you see, I was faced with a lot of criticisms as to what I should have done, what I didn't do, and things like that.
Yes.
But in all that, I carried my head and I said that I want to practice the law the way I understand it to the benefit of my client. And therefore, I wasn't going to listen to people who were just flying criticisms and accusations and again politics into it. And I have always warned that as a lawyer, you only need to carry the legal cap, not legal and political cap mixed together on one head. That brings confusion. So in my practice, if I'm practicing law, I want to only wear the legal cap and be a professional lawyer rather than a political lawyer. So I didn't listen to anybody at all. Interestingly, I heard that those who were even flying criticisms towards me are also in the same soup as I was. And interestingly, they have also adopted the strategy that I adopted in trying to deal with matters confronting them. Those who were making those suggestions are not applying those suggestions, but rather applying my strategy. I adopt my head to them, and good luck to them.
And one of the key things that came up at the time, you were talking about the approach you adopted. There was talk about, go and get some the bail conditions reviewed because it was excessive
or seen as
seen as excessive or obscene, and it was not realistic. your client was not going to be able to meet it. At a certain point, you granted an interview in one evening, one night, where you said that had it not been, an encumbrance you had encountered because a process had been filed at the court seeking to review the bail conditions, probably your clients would have gone free
on the day,
and that generated a lot of reaction.
Furore.
And the individual in question was not very happy. You said you didn't know about it. The individual said you knew about it. I mean, you had been spoken to, and he was surprised that you had come out to say this.
My sister, how many times have you seen or heard me lying? I don't lie at all. It's not because I'm not afraid to speak my mind at any time. So why would I lie on this trivial matter? If I had been consulted, why would I say no? No, I was not consulted. Indeed, I had spoken to the gentleman the morning before, and I had narrated what had happened to him. Least did we talk about the process going forward, and least did we talk about any further instructions he had taken from somebody else, and least did we talk about what he intended to do subsequent to the discussions. So I was and indeed if I knew, why would I have gone to Iyoko in the hope that I was going to get my client released on the day when there was a pending application there. And to me, honestly, that application was also incompetent.
The application was incompetent.
It was incompetent.
The Director of Legal Affairs.
Well, I'm not calling names, but I'm saying on authority that that application was incompetent.
Really?
Yes.
Why was it incompetent? Because
that application was a simple motion for review of the
bail
conditions, and it was incompetent. It ought to have come by an originating motion, because there was no pending matter in the court upon which you could have situated that motion. So it was incompetent, and I speak to it that it was incompetent. And let somebody challenge me with a superior legal opinion. It was incompetent. I decided not to talk about it at the time because of the heat it would have generated.
Yes.
But when there is no matter before a court and we want to solicit the court's attention, you indicate the law that brings you to the court. And that is why we say it is an originating motion, because there is nothing pending before the court upon which you situate a regular motion. So it was for another lawyer to have come to court to tell the court that how do you come to the court? How do you invoke the jurisdiction of the court? This one, you didn't come properly, and this application is incompetent and worthless. Yes. So, otherwise, I had prepared a motion in the event that I wasn't succeeding in what I was doing.
Yes.
A motion which was originating in character, invoking the appropriate laws that brings me to the court, and advise the court that, notwithstanding the absence of any matter before this court, relying on these laws, open the door for me to come and do the advocacy in respect of my application. You understand?
Yeah.
There are different processes. That process was hanging, be thrown away anytime. In any case, if I knew also that that application had been filed,
yes,
I would have told him that, please, let's withdraw it in the event that we agree that we go for a review of the
bail
conditions. We will come properly before the court, not go there for us to be thrown out and go back and prepare and come back again. By the time you come back, you will have spent another 2 days. And indeed, when you put an application before a court like that, the law says that you give 3 clear days for the respondent to respond to it.
Yes.
And the 3 clear days does not include the day of filing and the day of the motion.
It means that your clients would have stayed in custody for more days.
Yes. So the first day of filing, that was the Friday out. So we start counting. And again, he would spend Saturday and Sunday before we start counting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yes.
And so the mature date, the return date would have been the Thursday. Granted that we had come to court on the Thursday, and the Thursday the court had decided to even reduce it, reduce 10 million, reduce 20 million, reduce 30 million, or even reduce 40 million. Then you will go and start the process of preparing to meet the 10 million bail condition. So it means that the Thursday you can do that. The 4th day you come, which will be the Friday.
Yes.
You come with the sureties and the justification, and the people have to go and do verification.
True.
And the certification also through Lands Commission. So you have already entered the next weekend.
Yes.
You understand?
So that needlessly prolonged the process.
So the verification would even have started on a Monday, the next Monday. So you are 2 weeks now. Then the certification, assuming you take even 1 day, the next Tuesday. So then you are looking at implementing the order on a Wednesday, 2 weeks gone. It's not simple like that. So if you have a way of negotiating, and indeed he came out we missed the Friday.
Yes.
He came out on a Monday.
Yes.
But if we had taken the other route, we have come back 2 Mondays
later. So 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later. So which one is better?
Wow.
And in any case, it's not even automatic. That granted that it was reduced, say, 10 million, and we started the search for 10 million justification on Friday. Is it automatic that we will get somebody responding on the Friday? It is not. So assuming we had to go through consultations over the weekend, and somebody even showed up with the appropriate fees, appropriate property on the Monday, then that is when we start. So it wasn't easy like that. On the Monday, then the verification will start Tuesday, and so we will get into another weekend. So 3 weeks. It is happening now. Somebody is in now, have spent already 9 days and counting.
It's interesting because you stated emphatically.
And interestingly, the characters in the in the theater are the same.
Are the same, because you don't want to.
I sympathize with the guy though.
You don't want to mention the name in question, but allow me to mention the Director of Legal Affairs for the NPP, Gary Nimako.
No.
Okay.
That is not necessary at all.
Okay. But then again, he said he could not trust you anymore. Reason he decided to block you.
Well. Who is he in my life that I need his trust?
Oh.
And if he blocks me, he's been arrogant.
Oh, really?
To say the least. He is my junior at practice. And he is my junior in age. And indeed, well, we all went to University of Ghana. Our records are there. I was an SRC president. Notwithstanding that, I had enviable academic records there. So
your works speak for themselves,
so
right?
why all these words flying in my direction?
So you haven't spoken since that incident?
He was not, well, before then, he was not somebody I was speaking to all the time or many times. Or no. It was an occasional friend that if we met, we would share a few things. And again, in the party, sometimes, in the past, even before he became an appointee of the party, we were doing cases that he would come in, or I would come in. And I remember in Reverend Apostle Usubempa's case,
yes,
I came him to lend the support. And he knows the quality of support that I lended to him. When they thought that it was hopeless, that an application for bail would not mature, I showed them that it can mature, and we did it together. I prompted him to file the motion for me to make sure service is effected, for us to have a court and get the court to give us a decision. And I was in court the day with him. And when it happened that the application was granted, I had to do an advocacy for a self-cognizance bail.
Essentially.
So that was support. But you will see that even there, after the show, I just slipped out because it was his case.
Yes.
It wasn't my case. So not one bit or a quarter of the glory came to me. I had done my work in supporting a colleague. You see, if not for today that you're asking me, I wouldn't have said this. But when in the practice, when we are doing cases, in fact, sometimes we consult our seniors.
Yes.
In fact, many times, my boss, George Heward Mills, Esquire, he trained me. So when I'm in difficulty, I call him.
Yes.
I say, boss, as for this one, let me tap on your intelligence and your experience. So, Mr. George Heward Mills, anytime I call him, he will offer me direction.
Yes.
And I have to call him. I told him that you perpetually guide my process, in my path in the practice, because you ushered me in. You understand? And every now and again, yes, we pay homage to him, and then we show appreciation to him. But he hardly would you see him talking about what he has done to support a case that I'm doing. But in all cases, when it becomes difficult, I call him.
Yeah, I mean, well, it speaks to the legal fraternity and how
yes.
sometimes,
And
even with some of the cases,
He's
the
my
approach will
godfather.
determine how it will go.
Yes. He's my godfather. I learned a lot from him because even ushering me into practice, it was him that gave me the platform. On a day that he had told me to go and take a date because he was unavailable for the day's duties, I went to the court. In any case, I had gone with him the previous agenda date, and I went to the court, announced myself, and told the judge that my boss has asked me to come and take a date for him because he cannot show presence in court. I said, Andy, and the judge appears to know me. He said, Andy, are you a lawyer? You've been called to the bar already, and you are saying that you will come to the court only to take a date. No, I won't grant you that wish. You have to continue the matter today because the party needs to be represented. You are here representing him, and you have announced yourself. Yeah. Continue.
Wow.
That's how I was ushered into practice. And it was an occasion that we needed to cross-examine a defendant. Because I had been in the court with my boss the previous day, and I had, in fact, this is what I learned. This is what Mr. Heward Mills taught me. Anytime a brief is handed to you as a lawyer, no matter what your instructions will be, go and take a date or go and do this or go and do this, read the brief so that situate yourself within the case so that in the event that on your feet a judge asks questions about the case you're handling, you will be in a position to offer the necessary answers. So, and this is what I learned from him. So even if you ask me to go and take a date, I'll read the brief. Yes. So because I read the brief, I knew the direction, and I was with him the previous agenda date. I continued. So when I finished the day's work and we took a date, we came back the next day. Justice Asante, now at the Human Rights Court, International Human Rights Court, he was sitting there. And the next agenda when we came, my boss announced himself and announced me and was ready to continue. The judge said, Mr. Heward Mills, sit down. Let your junior continue.
Wow.
Because he did so well at the last agenda date, and I presume that his continuation in this matter will help. And indeed, my boss sat down. I said, Andy, continue. And I continued, and after the cross-examination, we went to chamber, and he said, take the brief and don't come to me anymore. So when I finished the case and I wrote the address, I went to show the address to him. He read the address and he didn't change anything. He said, go and file it. I went to file it and we won the case. He said, that's you. So from then, he gives me a case and I start. You see, so I'm so grateful to this man that he gave me confidence.
Yes.
And he showed me, and he continues to guide my path in the practice.
It's interesting from what you have said. I get it that, humility is key.
Very key.
In the study of the law and the practice of it.
Very key. And as I tell you, I've been so many years in practice. And my boss is always my boss. You understand? And you see, his style of cross-examination, his mood, his body language, I've learned all from him. You understand? And in V, he's dressing.
Okay.
Here is a gentleman who is very particular about what he puts on going to court.
So appearance matters.
Appearance. This man, and you see him always sharp.
Yeah.
You see, and he carries a shirt in the chamber. When he comes out of court, he comes to undress and he puts on a shirt as if the shirt that will disguise him even as a lawyer.
As a lawyer.
So you go to find him in chamber and waiting for his clients. He is just ordinarily
sharply
dressing person.
Yeah.
You see, so all these things I learned from you. You see some of the lawyers who go out of court and be
walking
running
around
in tunic shirts and sometimes even
in the gown.
Not the gown. The gown you will be hot. So in the tunic shirt sometimes with the color
and everything.
A few times you see even the wig. You see even the bib.
The bib as well.
And these are all very unprofessional.
Oh.
Once you are out of court,
you need to take it off.
You take it off and you dress into a regular
regular attire.
Your regular attire.
Enough of Wuntumi. Let's now talk about the MPP flag bearership race.
Yes.
You have put out your head already, your face, with regard to who you are supporting and who you think will do a good job, which is Brian Achampong. But before we get into why you chose him, what do you make of the party's decision, for instance, to go to the polls to elect a flag bearer first before any other elections with regard to the executives is done? And that's equally divided opinions, even within the party itself. What are your thoughts?
My sister, I'm happy that you refer to that as divided opinion. It is good. We need to disagree to come to some form of agreement at some point in time. I see that as a recipe for confusion and chaos. You understand? So, because you find yourself so disorganized even now, with all kinds of opinions in the party in respect of our performance and indeed how we have to regroup and reorganize. Then all of a sudden you are looking at a flag bearer to come. Is it the case that when we finish the flag bearer, it will be his owner's responsibility to do the organization and reorganization of the party? If that is what we think is the best approach, that is probably the proposal on the table. And in any case, let me look at the propriety of that proposal. We have a constitution that makes the roadmap as to what happens within the party.
Yes.
And we cannot do anything contrary to what the constitution prescribes for us. So for now, what we can do is to follow the direction of the constitution. And in the direction of the constitution, we have always started from the police stations and constituencies, the regional, the national, and the like. And that is the prescription in this present constitution that we have. Now, how can we implement a program that is contrary to the prescription in the constitution?
What representatives of the party have said is that the highest decision-making body of the party can vary some of these timelines. So
yes, the timelines, yes, to be varied, but the processes within the constitution, how are we going to be unconstitutional within the constitution? You understand? We are members of the party. We have a constitution that puts us together as a family. And you are saying that we should put aside the constitution for anybody in the party to vary the constitution? No, anybody in the party have a leverage within the constitution where they can do the variations they can within the constitution. But when the constitution has given a prescription as to how a process ought to begin and end, and then you are saying that there is a body in the constitution that can go contrary to the details of the constitution. No. Where anybody in the constitution has a mandate to be exercised and has a latitude of variation, it is specified in the constitution. And indeed, in the case of selecting the time for the conference and congresses, then the constitution equally says that the National Council has the responsibility to and can vary pursuant to circumstances, right?
Yes.
It is in the Constitution. So if they exercise their mandate of varying the expectation, it is in the Constitution. But the Constitution never talked about selecting the flag bearer before regional national
Polling
executive
station
before. No, it's not in the Constitution. It's alien to the Constitution. So are you saying that the body created by the Constitution can act beyond the Constitution or can act contrary to the Constitution? The answer to me, as I think about it, is no. Because when you are a constitutionally created body, as the National Council of NPP, constitutionally created by our Constitution, the Constitution cannot operate to undermine the same Constitution. Say that, no, the same Constitution that gave birth to me, I will do something contrary to what the Constitution is saying. I don't see how we can do that. And in any case, we haven't started the conversation. And therefore, the proposals are flying in the air. And somebody thinks that it is possible to be done. No. Any change to the constitutional dictates can only happen when the Constitution itself is amended to give that latitude of change.
Now,
so whoever says that we will go to Congress and then
elect a flag bearer before
we will elect a flag bearer. Under what Constitution?
So you don't.
We can only do that when we have amended the Constitution to say, do it this way instead of that way.
Wouldn't the July Congress address that?
The July Congress, we have proposals to vote on, probably.
Yes.
So when we aggregate all the proposals, we may do it a referendum style. And that will constitute an amendment to the existing Constitution.
Yes.
So if that Constitution that is existing now is amended by the provisions as proposed in this coming conference, and we get a new Constitution that says
flag bearer first.
That says flag bearer first. There will be a question to ask: how do we create the Electoral College? Because this new Constitution will prescribe an Electoral College, and the proposal we have seen says that add 2 persons to police station, add 4 persons to coordinator, and let all constituency executives be elected. So this is a new constitution that has prescribed same. Then they said let all national executives or regional executives and national executives be elected. That's a constitution. And then when we finish, elect flag bearer first. It's also a provision, assuming that becomes. So how are we going to elect a flag bearer without creating the Electoral College? So it means that the Constitution is saying, go to polling station, start from there, come to constituency, come to region, come to so-and-so. So by the time you come to so-and-so and get to the point of creating an Electoral College, you would have used the process as used by the present Constitution. And it is only then that you have an Electoral College with the necessary mandate to elect a flag bearer. But by that time, you would have elected all. So wherein comes the proposal of electing him first?
So you don't foresee the election of the flag bearer coming first? You don't foresee that happening?
I see that generating a lot of confusion that, if we are not careful, will lead to disintegration.
Really?
Yes.
Because the party believes this will rather unify the party.
Somebody might even take us to court to say that we are acting unconstitutionally to our constitution. When that happens, it will be subject to this kind of interpretation that we discussed. And indeed, if we subject ourselves to this kind of interpretation, by the time we finish with the interpretation and the legal battles and all that, and the confusion, the party will be destroyed.
It's interesting you say that this could lead to a disintegration, because the party says this would actually foster unity within the party.
That is somebody's opinion. That is somebody's opinion. And indeed, any party that is built around one person has no future. Yes. We have seen that before.
Is a party
the
built around?
Nkrumah situation was Nkrumah's party. Nkrumah was everything.
Yes.
And without Nkrumah, where is the party?
Do you believe
there are other parties?
Do you believe your party is
UG, so they all came. The Guzitano fashion, they came.
The reform parties and
all of them, because there is a call figure around whom a party is built. If for any reason that figure ceases to exist the way it was, the party also
disintegrates. But at the moment, is your party built around one individual?
I see the proposals are seeking to create that kind of individual. Okay. And in all cases, in politics, in fact, Machiavellian politics, the philosopher came. When the philosopher king is no more, who are the subjects? They are all available to be consumed. Understand? So let us not create. MPP was not built like that. That is why MPP has survived over these years in opposition, and even some of them having run into, other countries as refugees. You see, all the while, it is the philosophy of the party that has brought all of us back. Yeah. And in fact, generations after the founders, we still have a concept of party structure, spirit, and constitution, and processes still in place, and we follow. And this is a process that has generated us 2 electoral victories, profound. And is it 2 or 3 or 4? 3, because 4. Yes. Because 2000, 2004, 2016, 2020, 4 electoral victories. And we think that is something to throw away and just experiment into the unknown. We need to carry our heads well.
I mean, with all your experience, I mean, your understanding of the law and everything, all these arguments, have you put it at the disposal of the party?
You see, the danger is that there are so many of us who are not this privileged. Indeed, tell me.
This privilege in what regard?
Yes. Just last 2 weeks, I was in court with a client who is a medical doctor in the box. And he's my client. And when the other lawyer was cross-examining me and mentioned some legal terms, you see, this guy, medical doctor, couldn't understand. And the judge told him, that is why we tell you that it is enemy in the law that people are learned.
Yes.
In spite of all your knowledge in medicine.
In medicine, yes.
You see these small little words that, a very young lawyer is using on you, you are struggling. You see, so it is a case that not many of us are privileged to even understand the law and the Constitution and the like.
Yeah.
In fact, constitutional law is interesting. It grows over interpretation, but it is not easy to understand. So what we have even done this morning, you appreciate that we have delved into
You've taken us to the classroom,
law.
Yes.
How many of our members would have the privilege of even listening, paying attention, listening, and even understanding.
And appreciating.
And even the dangers that I'm pointing to, how many of them. Some people are so infatuated to the extent that if it's Appiah-Kubi, whatever he does, I support. Somebody says that if it's Kwesi Mensah, whatever he does, I support. You see, political support is not based on understanding of principles.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are other considerations that influence people's understanding and support for a particular person or a particular direction or particular process. So it takes time for us to, but that is why in all cases we have committees to sit and look through the lenses and do the things that the mob cannot do.
Yes.
You understand? So if we are not careful, some people may influence certain decision makers into coming into a conference and saying that those who say we support, vote yes, and those who say no, they say, oh, I heard a yes. It happens.
The eyes have it.
In doing that, you would have satisfied your personal self and the self of your extended collaborators, but you have hurt the generality and the future of a political party. Which one would you take? Exactly. And I have witnessed the conference at trade fair site, and I saw what happened. That people voted without understanding what they were voting for.
Yes.
And in most cases, Ghanaians voted for this constitution that we have without the opportunity to understand what it is that we are voting for. We have voted for a constitutional executive president who has consolidated, or the constitution has consolidated all power into his hands, and then he won't listen to anybody. And we were crying, forgetting that we had promulgated that constitution to vest in him that enormous power which defies general understanding. And indeed, the constitution that says that even when all members of parliament come together and pass a verdict on even a minister, and he goes to the president, the constitution says that he may listen to you. Look at that. A whole parliament passes a vote of no confidence even in a minister.
The president has a discretion too.
The president has a discretion. One person. So what it means is that one person is the philosopher king, and that one person is deemed to be more knowledgeable than all the group of people who have participated. And indeed, in all such circumstances, there are consultations, even coming out of parliament into institutions, into bodies, and even into the citizenry. And when we aggregate all these interests and bring it before president, one person, he has the prerogative to either take it or leave it.
Well, this
is the law that we promulgated as Ghanaians, all of us. And notwithstanding the knowledge that we have as Ghanaians, but we promulgated a constitution like that.
There's a committee currently doing some work. Have you had the opportunity to appear before them, or have they had the opportunity to engage you?
I have not had the opportunity to appear before them.
Okay. But do you think anything positive will come out of it?
I think that I have to appear before them. And if I do...
or you can submit a memoranda.
Yes, I can submit a memoranda, indeed, and I have read other people's memoranda, so we are fine. But the critical thing is that I personally think that executive presidency is alien to Africans.
Okay.
Simple. And that consolidating power in one person's hands makes him become a despot. And we have had experiences, and the recent experience that we shared among all of us is a pointer.
The recent experience where? In Ghana?
Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem?
Are you talking about President Kufuor?
Oh, yes. Did you not experience parliamentarians telling him something and he's saying, I haven't heard you?
Oh, you're talking about the time when some of the majority MPs had concerns.
It became all of us.
Oh,
it became a decision. It became a decision of the caucus.
Oh.
And you remember that our leader granted an interview saying that, yes, it started with a group, but the whole caucus adopted it. So it is our position. So listen to, and at the same time, respectfully, the minority then was agitating for the same cause.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
So if you put the agitation of the majority and the engineering of the minority together, the purpose was the same.
But eventually...
So you would see that it was indirectly the whole parliament saying one thing. But the man said no.
You felt that if something had been done at that time, it could have probably reduced the margin?
It was our opinion then.
Yes.
And I happen to be the advocate of that opinion.
Okay.
I would not say that it was my opinion. It was a collective opinion. I believed in that opinion.
Yes.
And I continue to believe in it.
But as a caucus, did you believe that if the president had listened at the time, perhaps even if the party was going to lose, it would not have been this disastrous in terms of the margins?
No, if the president had listened at the time, I believe that the correction would have been effective.
And perhaps you have even retained power.
Yes, and that the situations that necessitated that action would have abated, or at least would have been prevented this implementation. And indeed, when the change finally came, we saw traces of recovery. Oh, you are not in Ghana. You didn't hear that.
Yes, I do recall.
You see, even the confidence that the change brought into the financial management system gave us some reprieve.
Yeah.
So it supports the assertion that had it been done earlier, we probably would have seen results. And that could even have saved our government from coming back.
I mean, eventually the party...
And I hear some things like that coming through, some report that is also another...
Is it a Professor Okwe report?
People are quoting out of it.
At the moment, nobody has...
I ask myself, who are those privileged to see what is there to be quoting out? And somebody says something, I say, according to. I say, according to what?
At the moment...
Because I have not seen it. And if there are people in the party who are most privileged to see it without me seeing it, I say, there are angels in the party that I don't know.
Because the party has said that nobody has it as of now. Some of the MPs even have concerns with regard to nobody
Why did we even do it at all? If it was not meant to be seen.
The party doesn't want it to leak.
Leak to who? So if I see it, has it leaked? Member of a party, of my stature in the party? And if I can see it, how would I respond to the expectations of the report? If I did something wrong and the report is telling me, and you shouldn't have done this and that, and I haven't seen it, how would I change? So what is the essence of the report? Was it meant for the shelf? Or was it meant for 34 people?
It will be shown.
And are you telling me that, to be honest with you, national executives, they can understand it better than me sitting down here before you?
It will be shown to the people that the party believes.
They're saying that they are more MPP than me, Appiah-Kubi being MPP. Is that what you're suggesting? That because they are more MPP than me, they should see it, I shouldn't see it. I use myself as a benchmark. So is it saying that a certain organizer, general secretary, so I couldn't be general secretary in my life if I wanted to be, and that not becoming general secretary or organizer in the party demeans my understanding of the law or understanding of the report or my intellectual capacity to understand what the report is suggesting.
So you think that there's no logical reason behind the party's decision to keep it close to its chest, that report by Professor Michael?
Chest?
The party's chest.
Who is the party? Am I not one of the members of the party?
I'm sure to the executives, at least. I'm sure the General Secretary has seen it. I'm sure
the
National Chairman has seen it.
Are you sure that all the executives, in terms of competence and capacity put together, would be higher than all of us who have been seen? At least even members of parliament who have been seen.
So none of the MPs and former MPs have seen it?
I haven't seen. And I have not heard anybody talk to me that I've seen. Everybody who quotes says, I heard. But that is hearsay. And for me, hearsay doesn't work. Because you may be hearing some noises that are not genuine. So you come to tell me that I heard it from somebody, and you cannot even quote the source. And even when you quote the source is also quoting another source. And, I think why do we do that to ourselves? Something that we can read and understand and even use to do our advocacy and use to do the corrections. We are shelving it. And we are, so I think that nobody can arrogate to himself the pomposity of better understanding of a report like that than most of us. I don't think so. I can't see anybody who can appreciate it better than all of us.
Now, let's remain with the MPP a while longer, just briefly. This is in relation to the Appiah-Kubi North Constituency. Since December 7, there's no representation for the constituents in that area. Days ago, the Electoral Commission issued a statement indicating that they'll be rerunning the polls in 19 polling stations. 18 of them have been cleared, and the parties have no issues with that. And the Electoral Commission said that there was an agreement. This was reached after an agreement in a meeting with the two major political parties. The NPP says, no, what the Electoral Commission has put out there is unlawful, is disingenuous, and they find the U-turn shocking, and they are rejecting it. They've served notice that they'll be heading to court.
First and foremost, if you are sure, the EC said a meeting with the two major political parties.
Yes.
I find that statement even flawed. We have more political parties than two in Ghana. So if the Electoral Commission itself is confirming that they had a meeting with two parties and this is the decision they've taken, what happened to the other parties in the decision making?
Because the contest really is between those two.
No, they still have interest. Are you suggesting that if in the event that EC said, let's go and rerun, the other parties will not run candidates.
What if it was just those two that stood in that constituency?
Yeah, but what else if the other political parties also filed, representation? So for me, I think that EC is even saying that the meeting was between only two parties and them. I think that's not proper. No, going beyond that, if they had a meeting and agreed on what to do, did they agree that they are going to rerun for 9 police stations? 19 police stations.
That's what the EC says. The MPP says no.
Okay, so let's go back to the minutes of that meeting. Where is it? Did they sign? Or is it that they met as a group of people, bystanders, and they decided to talk anyhow, and somebody understood it to mean that we are going to rerun in 19? Because if there was a meeting, the evidence of it is the minutes of the meeting. So have they tendered any minutes of the meeting to you and for us to read and understand that that was the position they took? And is this meeting the legitimate meeting evidenced by the endorsement of the representatives in that minutes? You see, we don't do things anyhow like that. Ghana, we've come too far in our democratic dispensation, and therefore we expect state institutions to act professionally. If there has been a meeting, the notice of the meeting, there are rules. And I started by criticizing the membership of the meeting.
Yes.
So the rules say that invite, notice of the invitation, notice of attendance, notice of the minutes, and then minutes endorsed by the parties. Then we have a document that we can rely on in tender. But do we have seen any of this? Or we'll just listen to somebody who, in his hallucination, will come and say that there was a meeting and I heard this. Not recently, my friend went and had some drink. He said when he was in the car driving, he was hearing noises. He said, "Oh, drive on, even at the red light." Is it that kind of hallucinated talking that we are relying on?
So what should be the way to go?
No, let's do things professionally.
The people have been without representation since December 7, and a lot of people spoke loudly about the South situation, where 4 years went by, the people didn't have a representation, and they've argued forcefully that we should not see a repetition. We shouldn't see a repetition. So how do we ensure that the people of Ablekuma North have representation in Parliament? Sometimes
I also believe that we bend backwards unnecessarily to even accommodate wrongdoing. The rules are such that when there's time for election, you go and queue and vote. For any reason, if a group of people decide to undermine the process by making it impossible for their votes to be counted, what business do we have in frustrating those who obey the law and going ahead to vote, expecting that their votes will matter in their lives? Be impeached by those who wrongly decided to frustrate the process, and what business do we have? So it must be the case that we have to have an understanding that if you prevent yourself from being heard, you will not be heard. So that the group of people who decide that we will fight and frustrate the process, but this group of people say that we will follow the law and do the right thing. And why can we equate their rights against the rights of people who
follow the law,
who didn't follow the law? I believe that if you want to be heard, follow the rules and then be heard. If you decide to shoot yourself in the foot, you should not be heard. Let's hear those who have finished. So why, if it's 10 years, these 19 or so polling stations decide to frustrate, say 70, 80 polling stations, we should allow this to happen?
So you saying that they could have perhaps collated?
If it is impossible to hear them, let them stay in obscurity. Those who are ready to be heard, let's hear them. Because after all, they are in the majority. So I don't see why you see things that everybody, including people who prevent the process to present them with a platform, let's wait for them, whilst those who have legitimately discharged their obligations continue to wait. Because rights come with responsibilities.
Absolutely.
So you cannot only take the right and leave the responsibilities. Those who did not discharge their responsibilities as being rightful citizens to support the process, they should also be taken away. And let us look after those who have taken the responsibility to claim their right.
Now, let's talk about the current administration. It's been over 6 months now since President John Dramani Mahama returned to the helm of affairs. What is your assessment of how the country is being run at the moment?
Well, the country connotes different facets of life. Let me start with the economy, because I think that the election of 2024 was fought mainly,
on the economy.
For me, I may be wrong, mainly on the economy. The economic situation actually determined the voting behavior of Ghanaians. And the NDC, having come, they have rightfully resorted to fixing the economic, problems.
Okay.
It may be pseudo, but anyhow, my father used to tell me that when you owe somebody and he is holding your cloth and he says, let me even put on my cloth, well, it is freedom. Yeah. You see, so anyhow you feel the presence of freedom, you appreciate it. For now, there have been this exchange rate equation that is changing to our benefit. Appreciate that. They've done well. However they did it, they've done well. Because Ghanaians feel it. And they think that, yes, if I want to change a dollar, I have a better rate than before. So I only pray that they can sustain it.
Pray it's not short-lived.
It's not short-lived, so that it can be sustained. In fact, if they are able to sustain it, I give them the praises. They've done well, you see, because it is something that we expected our then minister also to do. And again, we are Ghanaians. Whichever political party is on the throne doesn't matter as much as generality of Ghanaians feel safe and comfortable. So for me, if NDC is doing and I have any contribution to make it happen, I would by all means do it, make it happen, because it's Ghana. It is not NDC Ghana, it's Ghana. You understand? So in that way, I would say they've done well in the economy in the interim.
Okay.
What I don't like about the governance system of NDC now is the fact that in the job market, they're throwing people over here and there, sacking people from the... You see, it must not be partisan. Okay. We have a country, and whoever has a contribution needs to have the opportunity to, deliver his contribution. Yeah. So if you come to office, you want to create jobs, yes, by all means, expand the economy and create the jobs. But when you say, I will take off these people and put back these people, that obviously cannot be the case. And indeed, somebody who would have acquired experience in an office, you throw him out and bring her, that amounts to lower productivity. Yeah. So that one is a no-no. I don't agree with them at all. Okay. And human rights, these wanton arrests, shootings here and there.
You're talking about arrests of former appointees?
Well, yes. If it's wantonly done.
Okay.
You understand? There are situations where I think that there must be a human face to the enforcement of laws.
Okay. If
you invite me, Appiah-Kubi, we will invite you to come and help with this. I'll come. If I refuse to come, then you can exercise the other option of the arrest. But like I started talking about the laws, some of the laws need a second look, because when you put security powers in a non-security person, the application must not inure to the benefit of the society. Okay. So we have to be careful about that. And these laws were done without recourse to our interest in human rights provisions. So some of them. So the wanton arrest, we need to be careful And also we need to also consider the human face of it. In any case, the Attorney General's office, it is the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. So much as you have the prosecutorial powers, you have also a right, a duty to ensure that there's fair trial and also human rights are also respected. So when you wear two caps like that, you make sure that you discharge the responsibilities equitably.
Equitably and responsibly.
Now, infrastructure. Let me talk about the delay in paying contractors and the suffering that people are going through. I passed through the Sawam Road to Kumasi last week. My sister.
Terrible.
I will not go there again. I mean, how do we have... This is the biggest road in Ghana. The most important road in Ghana. And look at the situation we have here. And we are all sleeping and nobody is talking. Is it because there is a change of government, so nothing must be done to continue the road?
The argument the administration makes is that road project stalled way before the government exited office. And there are currently engagements to have the contractor return to site.
Do we know the loss we incur if we become negligent in projects like that? Everybody using that road will suffer some
wear and tear, especially.
Cost. And that cost, if you aggregate them, it all becomes the cost of the entirety of the nation. So let us not think that because I don't go to Kumasi, I have nothing to do with it. No, it is cost that is on our national budget. So let's look at it. Again, the projects, I want to see more continuity in state projects. I want to see more continuity in management of state resources.
Absolutely.
But I want us also to look at indiscipline in administration. In fact, it's one thing that I commend this government of doing, making sure that people account for their stewardship. And then this culture must stay. It is not for a reason that after this government, next government comes, you say, no. The only time I had opportunity to discuss the governance with our then Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, he asked me, so, Andy, what do you expect to happen? I said, if God grants you the
opportunity to lead
the country, make sure that you preside over a disciplined administration. Sometimes when you hear of some of the charges they prefer against past office holders, you begin to think that, did this happen? How did it happen? I mean, were people that reckless? And I'm not minding my words. Some of them, when you read, if they are true, I say, how would they do this? How would people do that? You understand? And in any case, I think that in every administration, there must be somebody who will preside over everybody, making sure that there is some level of discipline in administration. Because some of these things happen to embarrass all of us, even as Ghanaians. You understand? So we cannot be that negligent. When I was in Parliament, one of the things that I wanted to do was to bring some provisions in the criminal code to suggest that professional negligence ought to be punishable as much as crime. Because it's criminal for you to be professionally negligent. You see the people who sign certificates as work done when work has not been done or work has not been done properly to specification, all of that, and you sign it as an engineer, you must face the law, and if you are guilty, put you in prison to teach you some sense, so that somebody who
is that not what causing financial loss to the state does?
Yes, but unfortunately, it has not been extended to include negligent behavior in the professional practice. Even as, so you see, most of the people who face these charges are politicians, but some of them are technocrats. We should extend the law to cover those people, so that when a road that's supposed to last us for 20 years begins to deteriorate in 2 years, we should bring you to come and face criminal charges, put you behind bars for you to go and let some sense. So next time you do that.
Now, Honorable, I understand that you were the superman who put Bulare on Radio Universe.
Radio Universe, yes.
You know I'm a product of Radio Universe?
You?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
but I came long after you were gone.
Yes. Yes, but you need to also mention somebody like Elvis Yankra.
Absolutely.
And Accra. There was another SRC president.
Yeah.
It was at the time Elvis and co, they mooted the idea. But Accra came and he also supported the idea, but it was in my time that it was implemented.
That Radio Universe came into being.
Yes, we had Alaji, who was then our manager.
Yes.
Is he still there?
Yeah, I mean, he is retired.
Uh-huh.
He turned 60, I think, last year or this year.
Oh,
so
we should have celebrated him.
There was a ceremony for him.
Difficult
Bolare
times.
was there.
And you see, those of us in SRC, we had to put money behind him to try and buy some of the consoles and things like that.
Wow.
So, but Borare, I discovered him in Achimota.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he was here. He was listening to me. He was the MC for the occasion.
Okay.
It was a naming ceremony or something. So I saw this young man, and the way he controlled the music there, and he's a terrible, very good voice.
Very good voice,
very
yes.
nice voice. And he had absolute control of the music system to the extent that all of us started dancing. So I took his number there. I was then the SRC president.
Of the University of Ghana then?
Yes.
This was what year?
78.
78?
No, 98.
98,
yes.
Okay.
So I was planning a program to usher in the freshers, and I christened it Akwaba Night or Akwaba something.
Okay.
So I said, this guy, he can help me with the console. So I called him, and I put him in charge of the music system, the Akwaba Night. And can you imagine, a lot of people came out to dance profusely.
Wow.
So when we finished with the program, he was the MC for the whole show. So I decided to take him to Radio Universe. I went to Radio Universe. Alaji said, no. This is a place for students. I said, what? This man is good. Although he's not a student here, I will say that he was. So I had to go to.
Wow.
So I said, well, you've forgotten that I'm the president.
You used your veto power.
The same autocracy that I'm complaining about.
At that time, the power was concentrated in your hands.
Yes. At that time, I was chairman of council, and I was a member of the university council, and I wielded some power on campus those days. And I was living in a bungalow of 3-bedroom bungalow as a student.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
You had a good time.
Oh, no.
It's not these days that SRC presidents are being suppressed here and there.
No. SRC was good then. And you see...
a 3-bedroom bungalow?
Yes. The professors were in 3-bedroom, and some of them in 2-bedroom. I was in a 3-bedroom with a boys' quarters.
Hey, as SRC president?
As SRC president. It wasn't a bad thing, crowd. So, you see, so I had some influence.
Yeah.
So I forcibly put Borare there.
Yeah.
And it was then that he called himself Borare
on
our this thing.
And look what he is
and
evolved
since
to
then,
become.
So I called him to SRC office once, and I told him, the problems we had with Alaji. He says that you are not a student, so he was not going to allow you. So what it is that you need to turn to be a student.
Yeah.
So whatever you have to do, be it, because I don't want to lose you on the radio station.
Yeah.
But they said the requirement is that we have smuggled you in, but make sure you consolidate your position.
Absolutely.
So I told him to go and find a way to rewrite whatever paper you have to write and come back, and I'll be your support if you want to come. Wow. And those days, you see, we had some little influence. So when
you had a lot of influence compared to the SRC we are seeing now.
Oh, those days, the SRC was good. Believe me, we were able to even run a student program from Legon connecting to Harvard Business School.
Wow.
Yes, that was my program. I don't know whether they've stopped, but there was a program from University of Ghana Business School to Harvard Business School.
Wow.
Every year, there was an African business conference that was held in Harvard with students from Ghana and students from Harvard Business School. Students from, in fact, University of Ghana. In fact, in my last year when I left, the following year, we ran it. University of Ghana contacted me as consultant. We ran it, and I included tech, Business School,
Wow.
KNUST Business School. Then Professor Primpong, I contacted him. So we put together a team from Ghana, KUNST Business School, University of Ghana Business School, and Harvard Business School. So we had that one. It was after that program that I didn't participate in the mobilization. I was part of interacting with the embassies for visas and things, and for travels, arrangements, and for Harvard, the logistical planning. In fact, there was one guy who was there in Harvard. Now he came to be Deputy Minister of Finance, Edubahin.
Okay.
So he was my colleague in Harvard. And then now
It's
Christian.
No, it's still thinking, but the real name is John Squatty. Is it the one at the School of Communications area?
Former law faculty area.
Yes.
We call it Tingy.
Yes, it's still called Tingy, but the real name is John Squatty.
No. When the university administration put up that something, we decided at SRC that
you call it Tingy.
Because
why? Is it because it was far away?
There was this town in Uganda. There was some conflict. There was some internal conflict. Is it internal war?
Okay.
And it happened around the area called Tingy. So we Christian
students are very mischievous. How would you name such a place?
So and we decided that we will not refer to the given name, but we will rather refer to our name.
Wow.
So Tingy came to stay. And we had the business center in Tingy.
Yes.
And we had the SRC IT center on top of Akwafu Hall, JCR.
Yes.
So we used some money from SRC to do all these projects. Okay. So we had these industrial photocopiers and all that. So students were patronizing, and we were charging students
something
low
small. Yes.
For them, those who were doing their theses, those who were doing their long essays, typing, and those days computers were not that common.
Yes.
So we put some computers there for you to give your written notes
and
to the secretary there. Somebody will type it for you and even bind it for you. It will be ready when you come and take it at very minimal cost. But I don't know whether these things are still there. But
well, some of them are still there.
Yes.
Some of them, yes, are private owned.
The one on top of Akwafu Hall, I heard that a private interest bought it, but I totally disagree with it. It was a student facility, and it was supposed to show us how to manage, enterprise. You understand? So
to give them a hands-on experience.
Yes, the idea was not to sell it to, and indeed, there was a pharmacy shop that we brought to campus. Okay. It was in Legon Hall and SB. But we gave them a facility in the building, so that students, when they are sick, they could go to the pharmacy.
So at the moment, I think at the Legon Hall Annex, if I recall correctly, there is a pharmacy there, but I don't know if it's the same pharmacy.
It's the same pharmacy.
It's commercial.
There's a lady who owns that one.
Okay.
And we had put her in.
But the pharmacy
SRC
is no more
building.
in the SRC building. It's in the is at the annex of Legon Hall. So are you a vandal?
No, I'm not a vandal. I'm associate vandal.
Associate vandal?
Yes.
How?
You see, some of us, we behave like them. So it's easy for us to mingle with them. In my SRC days, when we were campaigning for I had a good following from Banda City. Because I used to visit Banda City, and so many of my friends were in Banda City. I was the SRC candidate that got the most votes as a non-Banda. And my contestant was from Vandal City. From
Vandal City?
Yes.
So the Vandal City people voted for, even though you are not from there?
Yes.
But which hall were you originally in?
Unfortunately. Unfortunately. In terms of elections, unfortunately. In terms of in general behavior, fortunately.
Okay. So you were from Akwafu. Interestingly, the Vandal City boys voted for you more.
Yes, because I was an associate Vanda.
Absolutely.
I used to do the singing with them. You know a lot of their hymns.
Oh, wow. I mean, I want to go back to the times when you were in the university. Clearly, it was more fun than when we got there.
Yes, true. And in fact, even now, anytime I meet my group anywhere, I associate and participate and contribute. You see, there was this choir leader called Jakede. Jakede was a very good one, and he knew all the music. In fact, sitting down here, I know the music.
You know all of it, eh?
I know all of it.
Do you want to sing some?
Oh, not today.
Okay.
This is a holiday. It's supposed to be a holiday.
Okay.
A holiday. So
a holy holiday. Absolutely.
But
all right.
When we have the Bombolibo and you invite me,
you come and sing it. All right, actually.
And I'll do the music for you to enjoy.
I'm waiting for that day patiently. Honorable, it's been great engaging you. I would have loved to go on and on. And there's so many areas I still want to explore, but the producer is eyeing me in the corner of my eye. I can see him.
He's not a banda, that is why.
That is it. You see, I don't think he went to the University of Ghana. Which one were you in?
No. You would say that you don't think that he went to the university.
The premier university.
Then you add of Ghana.
Of Ghana is the
not
premier.
In Ghana.
Which UG did you go to?
Well, you have to.
No.
We cannot be sure.
Just like in Ghana. Of Ghana is different from in Ghana.
Absolutely. This is the premier university we're talking about.
Of Ghana.
Are you sure you're not a distance student?
No, the of Ghana makes it special.
Yes.
There are many in
Ghana. Yes.
But there's only one off.
It can only be
let us be
one.
Very mindful of that. We are very jealous when it comes to the off.
It is the premier university. Integri Prokidamus.
Yes.
We stand.
And it is the only one for Ghana.
Absolutely.
Because it's the only one of Ghana.
All the rest are just the rest.
All the rest are in Ghana.
Honorable, thank you so much for joining us for this holiday edition of the Morning Star. It's been great engaging you, very insightful. I've learned so much from you, and we look forward to engaging you again.
Yes, my congratulations go to Bola also for the excellent work he's done. Fantastic. I'm very proud of him always.
Absolutely.
Anytime I engage him or I encounter his footworks, I feel very proud.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of talent out there.
Yes.
If we scout well, we'll bring them out.
Absolutely.
So my congratulations, my prayers with him, and let him do more.
All right.
Thank you very much for bringing me my sister.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good morning too. We were joined in the studio by the former Member of Parliament for Asante-Akim North Constituency, Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi. It was a very lovely conversation we've had with him this morning. This is still the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.